I recently read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, an extremely popular author who wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, Malibu Rising, and hundreds of more popular books. I was really excited to get into this book because I had never read Taylor Jenkins Reid, and since she's so popular, I just wanted to see what the hype was about. And this is her first novel, so I just thought it was a perfect book to start reading Taylor Jenkins Reid. And to say that I was very disappointed would be an understatement. This book let me down in so many ways, and there were a lot of things that I didn't enjoy about it. But one of my main problems with it was that it was extremely predictable. And this got me thinking of why predictable books don't work, in my opinion.
It's me, Uniqua. Wanna do a sneaky tango with me?
Forever Interrupted follows our main character, whose name I cannot remember. If I had a gun pointed at my face right now, I would not be able to tell you the main character's name, but she's a woman in her early 20s, I think. She meets the love of her life, Ben, that name I do remember, in a very curious way, dates him for a couple months, and then gets married. And about 2 weeks into the marriage, Ben dies a tragical and terrible death. Our main character is completely heartbroken, and she cannot even begin to understand how the love of her life, the person that she was destined to be with, the man she had been waiting for so long, is just taken away from her in a single second. And she also feels extremely guilty because Ben died on an accident while he was riding his bike to get to Target or Walmart, I don't remember, to buy our main character cereal because she was craving it, and he was like, I'll go buy it for you. And then he goes, and on his way there, the accident happens. And throughout the whole book, we follow our main character dealing with her grief and with absolutely everything she's feeling. And if things weren't bad enough as they are, we also meet the main character's mother-in-law, Ben's mother. And let's just say that she isn't a very easy woman to deal with at the moment, of course, because she just lost her son. And there's also the fact that Ben never told her mom that he got married. So it's weird, okay? It's awkward. When they meet, not nice. Ben's mom, whose name I also cannot remember, is extremely surprised to find out that her son got married without telling her. And our main character doesn't feel validated by anyone because her and Ben had just been married for about 2 weeks, which isn't that much time. So that's what the book's about. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we have. It's a very quick read. I gotta say that the way that it's written just makes it really easy to get through. It has around 300 pages and I flew through it, read it in less than a day. And I think that with what I just told you, you can imagine where the story goes. You know, the main character goes through all the stages of grief, I think they're called. At first, she's in denial, she can't believe what just happened, and she doesn't want to accept it. Then she's mad at life, at God, and at everyone who dares to be happy when she just lost the love of her life. Then she gets even more sad and devastated. And then she ends up accepting her reality, feeling thankful for the time she got to spend with Ben, and moving on. I would say that the only twist in the story that I found interesting was that she was also dealing with her mother-in-law and meeting her and getting to know her. But other than that, it was just predictable, extremely predictable. I think that a book needs to have a balance between being predictable and being interesting. The predictable part needs to be there so that you can make theories about where the book is going, or kind of think about where you think the book is going. But the interesting part is just as important because that's what keeps you reading. You want to find out what happens, and you want to see if the theories that you made were right or wrong. And it works because it's a good balance. I think that a good book gives you enough details about the plot so that you can start thinking of where the story is going, but it also gives you surprising and interesting elements that keep you reading and that make you want to find out what happens at the end. For example, I believe that a good plot twist is one that you don't actually see coming, but that makes sense with the story. The kind of plot twist that you read and you understand how it's tied to the plot and to the story, but it's also equally surprising, and it of course reveals something that you didn't know before. It wouldn't make sense if the plot twist wasn't connected with the story, and if it were the type of thing that you just know someone made up. So I believe that this balance between what's predictable and what's surprising, it's really important, and the author really has to make it make sense. For example, I believe that the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, it's the perfect example of a good balance between what's predictable and what's surprising. When you're reading any of the books in these series, you can see where the author planted the seed for the revelation, but at the end, the revelation, it's still surprising and it's still entertaining to read and it's still interesting. It doesn't come off as predictable because it isn't, but it makes sense with the story and what we know of the plot. I'm not saying that Forever Interrupted is a bad book necessarily. Maybe it just wasn't for me, but I do think that the author picked a very predictable plot. You could see where the story was going the whole time, therefore it didn't really make for an interesting read or a memorable one. I think that this topic is extremely interesting, mainly because of how easy it is to mess up like this balance. That's what motivated me to make this video. I would absolutely love to know what you think about it, and thank you for watching.